how one can be precise with this. One shot, one opportunity. When you aim with a rifle or a shotgun, you have these shoulders and the aiming point here. So the whole idea is from your eye, you will look through the shoulders and the aiming point, and then having the object that you are targeting in continuation on the same line. So the line from your eye through the shoulders, the aiming point, and the target is always parallel with the line that the bullet follows just below it. Paste the ball in that exact place and you have these parallel lines. So the ball will always go to the same trajectory as your aiming line, just it will hit a little bit lower. But that's exactly what happens with the shotguns and the rifles. So for example, look how much is the distance between the aiming point and the pipe. It is like this, and between the corner of the slingshot and the center of the slingshot is just somehow similar. Regardless of if I hold it like a hammer or hold it with the fingers pressing the fork. Now, you see my middle finger is embracing the fork through here, and my index finger is embracing the fork through here. This portion is pressing like this, and my thumb is pressing on this edge here, like this. Holding my breath, handling my handshake and my heartbeat, and releasing. The second important thing is to determine your dominant eye. Now for this, just take a pencil, align it with an object, then close your left eye and look through the right eye, and then without moving the pencil, close your right eye and look through the left. And then determine which of your eyes were mostly aligned with the object. That's your dominant eye. Now, if your dominant eye is the left, then place the ball into the pouch and paste the pouch to your eyebrow below your left eye. If your dominant eye is the right, your anchor point where you will paste the ball is below your right eye. So always go for your dominant eye. Most professional pouches have a hole in the middle so that you know where the middle is. Place the ball exactly there and then paste it below your dominant eye and then stretch. Now your slingshot must remain vertical, so never keep it like this, just keep it vertical. Close your non-dominant eye and use only your dominant eye and aim through the corner of the fork. Now an interesting fact is, should you keep your palm facing towards you or away from you? And the answer is simple. If you shoot normal, like this, keep your thumb up and the palm facing towards you. If you prefer to stretch this all the way behind your face or in full butterfly style, then keep your palm facing away from you. Now, we are going for the normal style shooting. So keep the thumb up, paste this onto your eyebrow, close the non-dominant eye, and then aim through the corner of the slingshot. Now, in this position, you want to make the trajectory of the ball, which will follow the center of the fork, parallel with the line between your eye and the corner of the slingshot. To do that properly, take a stick, put it in the middle of the slingshot like this, on its longitude. Go in front of a mirror, place the center of your eye aligned with the corner of the slingshot like this, and then bend it. So where this stick touches your eyebrow, that point is your anchor point. The anchor point is the point where you will paste the ball always when you shoot. And this allows you to have the distance between the eye and the anchor point exactly equal to the distance between the corner of the slingshot and the center of the slingshot. So if you do that properly and you know where exactly your anchor point is, then you can paste the ball in that exact place and you have these parallel lines. Now, if your fork is a little bit like this, or a little bit like this, or a little bit like this, and not perfectly straight, your shooting will not go straight. Now, how do you know from this position that your fork is perfectly straight and perpendicular to the trajectory of the bullet? There are a few ways to ensure that. And the simplest way, the way I do it, I generally choose slingshots that have a prismatic shape of the fork ends. Now, if the ends of the fork have the shape of a cube or a prism, this allows you to know when the slingshot is straight, because you need to see it two-dimensional. So if you see a little bit of this side, it means you are not holding it straight. If you see a little bit of this area from the bottom of the upper fork, it means you are not keeping it straight. The same here and the same here. You should not see any of these sides. You should see this square as a two-dimensional square when you look at it. You shouldn't see this upper flat area at all. You shouldn't see the lower area at all. You should not see the side area, and you should not see this area here. So hold it straight. Don't do it like this. Don't do this. So this is how you align it perfectly. Looking with your dominant eye from the above, you will see the slingshot from the above. Now, if you see both bands, it is not perfectly aligned. You need to see only, now it is aligned. You should only see the upper part of the upper band. So, align the bands and align the fork. That's it. And that's the reason why I generally prefer slingshots that have their ends rectangular, like a cube. See this one, see this one, which also allows me to align it easy. See this one, again, and you can also see this one. Again, it has a sort of prism here. Now, over the top means that the bends come over the top, like this. And when you shoot this, the bends go straight over. Now, there are slingshots that have the bends fixed like this. Now, this one is different. When I shoot, it will not go over, it will go through the fork directly. See? Now, aiming with this one is a little bit different. You have the same aiming line, okay? So the aiming line is the same, but the aiming point is not the corner of the fork anymore. It should be the center line of the bend. And for this reason, some slingshots have a small channel or something here, so that when you stretch this, you see that channel and you can aim through it. But I found out that if you put the bends a little bit uneven, and sometimes it happens for me to put the bends uneven, like here, you see, it's not perfectly in the middle of this portion. And then the bend doesn't get perfectly aligned with that channel. So for this reason, I'm not using channels. I'm just marking with a permanent marker the center of the bend. So for this slingshot, your aiming is like this. You see, you can see up there the line, and the point is like this, where that line intersects the target. There are also slingshots set up for through the fork shooting that have a mounting like this with cord. Now, people usually get a little bit confused. How do you aim with this one? Because, you know, due to the cord and all this bulky thing here, it doesn't really let you think of being precise. So for this type of slingshot, the principle is the same with any through the fork slingshot. Now, where you see the cords here, the center, the point in between the two cords that are getting into the wood, so just drag a line with a permanent marker from there, and that's your aiming point. No matter how aesthetical this linkage is here, the force will always go centered through the point where the mounting is, and that's exactly where the two cords get together. So from there, put this line with a permanent marker, and then that's how you shoot for extreme precision, like this. Now, sometimes you may be willing to shoot a slingshot like this. It's the exactly same principle. When you put the ball in the center of the pouch, you need to make sure that you aim through the center line. So the center line is here. You can see this channel in the middle. That's your aiming point. It goes like this. When it comes to this one, you need to see where this rubber gets fixed, and from where the rubber gets fixed, that's the center line, and the end here is your aiming point. And now the last point, how do you aim with this one? You have seen me shooting also a nail with this type of slingshot. Let's see it again. Aiming with this will never be as precise as it is with an over-the-top slingshot that has very sharp corners. However, as you could see, I was still able to shoot a nail, which is a huge precision movement. And the way you shoot with this one, after you put the ball in the center, you use the same type of aiming, yeah, and your aiming point is not the corner of the fork, because there is no fork anymore, but you can use the point where the upper side of the band is touching your hand as the aiming point, like this. So it's the same principle, just align the band so that you see it vertically, you only see the upper edge of it, and then use the triangle, the small triangle that you are seeing here. So where the band is actually touching your hand here, you can see a small angle. Use that angle as your aiming point, like this. Now let's talk about more advanced things. You have probably noticed that when I aim and get close to you so that you see it, you have noticed that my hand is not perfectly still. It is a little bit shaking, and that's something absolutely normal that happens to any human being. That's because biological tissue and everything that is alive is constantly moving. So you are breathing, your heart is beating, your muscles struggle, especially if you are using a strong rubber. And if you are trying to aim something very small, like an 8mm steel bore or a nail, which is very, very thin, you will notice that you are not able to keep the corner of the slingshot perfectly aligned with that target. Especially from a few meters away, you will notice that the shaking of your hand is kind of tricking you. There are also other matters like the wind, like the sun, the direction from which the sun shines, and also the Hyperbolian trajectory of the ball if you are shooting at long ranges, because it's not going perfectly straight, it's going a little bit like this, curved, due to the gravitation of the ground which attracts it. So if you are new to shooting, I need to explain you a few details that the snipers are also facing when they are shooting at long ranges. Now, you may think that a sniper is just aiming, pressing a button, and that's it, but it's not like that. Actually, from the moment when you press the trigger and until the bullet reaches the target at 2,000 meters away, there might be 1 or 2 seconds delay. The target might move. In the meantime, the wind will hardly influence the trajectory of your bullet, and also the gravity is forcing your bullet to go like this. That's why if you have a scope rifle, you need to adjust the scope based on the distance at which you are aiming. Also, for non-scope rifles, these shoulders are also adjustable, so you can adjust this to be higher or lower depending on the distance where you are shooting. So it doesn't work to precisely shoot at 10 meters away and then immediately to aim with the same gun at 1,000 meters away and be exactly just as precise. And that's because you need to adjust this based on the distance to compensate for that hyperbolic curve that the projectile is taking due to the gravity. And the same thing happens to the slingshot shooting. If you are shooting at longer ranges, now you will notice that the ball is not going straight, it's going slightly curved down. And in order to compensate, the longer the range, the higher you need to lift your forward hand with the fork in order to hit the target. So you have two options: either move your anchor point lower or move your forward hand upper when you are shooting at higher distances. For this reason, some competition slingshots come with this sort of aiming device here. And this has a gradation with multiple steps that allows you to control how much you are lifting this slingshot based on the distance where you are shooting. So if I'm shooting at 10 meters, I will aim through this point. If I'm going to shoot at 20 meters, I might need to lift it and go through the next step here, and so on. At 50 meters, I might need to rise it all the way to the last point. And this device is usually useful for shooting competitions because there they are shooting at fixed ranges, 10, 20, 30 meters, and you usually know ahead of time how far or how close is the target, so that you can train specifically for that particular distance. Now, this sort of level bubble allows you to know if you are holding the slingshot perfectly vertical or a little bit bent towards one side. So you need to see the bubble in the middle so that you know that you are holding it straight, and then you can aim and shoot. So in general, you will see this type of precision devices used mostly in shooting competitions, especially in the inside. Another reason why I don't usually use this type of precision devices and level bubble is because in real life you are not always shooting horizontal. Now, when you are hunting, the birds or whatever you are hunting might be up into a tree, so this level bubble doesn't allow you to know if you are holding the entire line perfectly, if you are going up to the side and so on. However, watching for the sides of that prism shaped end of the fork is working every single time. It doesn't matter if you are shooting at your head height or higher, it's always aligned. I also have another slingshot. This one is more special, and you could see me shooting an 8mm steel ball like this one with another 8mm steel ball in the when you move this over the top, you can notice that there is a triangle that forms in here, and as you stretch, that triangle squeezes, so that allows you to focus on the exact point that you are willing to aim. You can see when I'm stretching this, there is a small triangle in between the rubber and the fork, and as I stretch it, that small triangle squeezes. That's where I'm aiming. We talked about the gravity and how you compensate for that. Now let's talk about the most advanced thing. How do you compensate for your hand shake? And having a hand shaking is not something abnormal. As I said, it's normal, and that very narrow shaking happens all the time. Even if you are using a very soft rubber that is easy to stretch, you will still, and even if you are holding your hand without any stretch, any force, anything, you will not be able to hold it perfectly still. You will notice that a fraction of a millimeter it is still moving because you are breathing and because your heart is beating. when you are shooting very small targets from very far away, to still be precise and to handle that shaking, you need to, one, hold your breath, and then handle your heartbeats. You will feel in that silence, just stay silent in that exact position for a while, for a few seconds, and you will feel your heartbeat like bang, bang, bang in your hand. Now that's the point where you need to slow down your heartbeat and also to aim and release in between two heartbeats. So when you feel bang, 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 now you need to synchronize. When your hand goes down after one heartbeat, you need to synchronize with the target and immediately release. And these are the kind of challenges that snipers using scope rifles also face, just that they are facing them and fighting against them at very long ranges, while with the slingshot you will fight against this sort of challenges even at 20 or 30 meters away. I hope you found all these tips useful. Thank you for joining the Slingshot community and looking forward to see you next. You may want to share, subscribe and press the like button if you liked this or found this useful. See you next time, and I wish you all the best. Cheers.